Hey guys, Tony here, and today we're going to be doing a 1-year update on the compost and get it moved into the raised bed gardens. The compost piles have been working for close to a year, probably 40 or 50 bags of leaves here. There's some chicken manure mixed in from our chicken coop and quite a bit of kitchen scraps. Currently, these piles are mostly inactive at about 100 degrees, so we're going to pull out the compost, see what it looks like, and get it moved over to the garden. Now, these piles have been turned probably every 6 to 8 weeks for the last year, so there's a good amount of compost ready to go underneath this top layer. Let's pull it out and see what it looks like. Looking at that dark compost in there, it's hard to believe that that was mostly leaves and kitchen scraps, but that's what a year of composting at 120 to 140 degrees does. Now, to get started, I'm going to take off this top layer of uncomposted material and move it out of the way, and we'll put it back in once the bin is emptied out. When you are doing your composting throughout the year, you want to have a mix of browns and green items. Browns would be things like dried leaves, dead plants, hay, straw, things that are high in carbon. Greens are your fresh grass clippings, food scraps, coffee grounds, and any other items that are high in nitrogen. In our case, most of our nitrogen material is coming from chicken droppings and food scraps. The collected chicken droppings are mixed in the top couple inches of the compost every week or so. And in addition to that, they love to get on top of that compost pile and dig around for bugs. And while they are up there throughout the day, they will deposit additional chicken droppings and help keep the pile plenty replenished with nitrogen source. There are some small twigs and stuff in here that I'll need to screen out and remove once I shovel it into the garden. In fact, there was a whole Christmas tree that was composted in here just a couple months ago. But this is going to be a great, rich, organic addition to the garden soil. The soil we used last year was a raised bed garden mix from a local landscaping company. And it started out okay, however, throughout the year it compacted a little bit. So I'm really looking forward to getting this compost in here and mixing it in and loosening up the soil. Each side of the compost bin is 3 feet by 3 feet, and our compost depth was about 24 inches. So we've got 18 cubic feet of compost on each of these storage areas. When we put that in the 12 by 6 beds, that's going to give us an additional depth of 3 to 4 inches on top, and we're going to dig that in to about the top 6 to 8 inches of soil, get it all blended in. Both beds are now finished and all the compost blended in. Be sure and check out the next video where I'm going to build a fence to keep these chickens out of the garden, because they will eat everything. If you don't have chickens, you don't have to deal with that. But if you do have chickens, be sure and check out our next video. Just to wrap up, we are going to reset and restock these compost bins and get them going for the summer, fall, and winter, so we will have some new compost for next year. If you didn't watch last year's video on setting up your compost bin, just a quick reminder that you need a ratio of 3 to 4 parts brown to 1 part green, so that's your carbon to nitrogen ratio. I'm using dried leaves and straw as my browns. And the straw here came out of the chicken coop, so it has plenty of chicken droppings already in it. We'll have a good mix of carbon to nitrogen. And I'm going to wet down each layer as I put it in to kind of get things activated and help the bacteria get started. Taking your compost out and turning it to oxygenate it is important, as is supplying enough moisture to keep things slightly damp. You don't want to get it too wet, just enough to get things damp. If your compost gets too wet, it can go anaerobic, and you will know that because after a few days it's going to smell really bad. While I'm finishing up getting these bins refilled, I just wanted to take a second to ask you to please hit that subscribe button and like this video if you found it helpful. If you have any questions about building your own compost bin or getting your compost bin started, please drop them in the comments below and I'll be happy to try and help you out. All that work is done and the bins are finally reloaded for a new season. Over the next few weeks, the level of these bins will drop by about 50% as the material decomposes. The final step here is just to throw in our compost bin thermometer. These are really handy if you have a deep compost bin because they can check the temperature down a couple feet. Right now we're probably at about 80-ish degrees, and this will rise up to 130 to 140 degrees over the next couple days. Just a final reminder, when you see that temperature dropping to the lower end of the green zone under 100 degrees, it's time to pull your material out, re-oxygenate it by mixing it up, add in some fresh material and a little bit of moisture if needed. Good luck to you, happy gardening, and please enjoy your summer. Thanks for watching.